The sound echoes through the empty gym like thunder, metal against concrete. The rim I just shattered clatters to the floor, its twisted orange metal glinting under the fluorescent lights. Coach Martinez stands frozen at half court, his clipboard forgotten in his hand, his mouth hanging open like he's seeing a ghost. This wasn't the first time he'd underestimated me. 2 years ago, when I was just 5'6" and desperate to make varsity, he'd laughed right in my face. "Kid, you're built for chess club, not basketball. Come back when you grow a foot." The sting of his dismissal had burned like acid in my chest. But death changes you. Coming back changes you even more. I dust the rim debris off my hands and walk toward him, my sneakers squeaking against the polished hardwood. "Still think I should stick to chess, coach?" The gym smells like sweat and broken dreams, the same scent that filled my lungs during my first life, when I spent every afternoon here getting demolished by players twice my size. Back then, I was Marcus Chen, the scrappy underdog who died choking on his own blood after a head injury during the state championship. Now, I'm Marcus Chen again, but with 20 years of NBA experience compressed into a 17-year-old body and a burning need to prove that height isn't everything. Coach Martinez finally finds his voice. "What the hell just happened? That rim was regulation steel." I shrug, bouncing the basketball casually in my palm. "You said I needed to show more aggression. Was that aggressive enough?" The truth is, I didn't mean to destroy the rim. In my previous life, my real life, I was Marcus the Giant Chen, 7'2" center for the Golden State Warriors. 23 seasons, 3 championships, a Hall of Fame career. I died at 45 from a heart attack during a pickup game, my body finally giving out after decades of abuse. When I opened my eyes in this skinny teenager's body, reliving my senior year of high school, I thought I was getting a second chance to do things right. I just didn't expect my adult strength to transfer over quite so literally. "Chen!" Coach Martinez barks, his face flushing red. "You're suspended from practice until further notice. I don't know what kind of stunt you're trying to pull, but—" "Coach?" The voice comes from the gym entrance, smooth and authoritative. We both turn to see a tall man in an expensive suit walking toward us, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the floor. I recognize him immediately. Tommy Reeves, scout for the Lakers. In my previous timeline, he discovered me when I was already 6'8" and dominating college ball. Seeing him here, now, in this moment, sends a chill down my spine. "Mr. Reeves," Coach Martinez stammers, immediately straightening his posture. "I wasn't expecting— What brings you to Lincoln High?" Tommy's eyes are fixed on me, studying my compact frame with the intensity of a predator sizing up prey. "Heard there was a kid here making some noise. Wanted to see for myself." His gaze shifts to the destroyed rim, then back to me. "That your handiwork, son?" I nod, trying to keep my expression neutral. Inside, my heart is hammering. This is it, the moment that could change everything. In my first life, I didn't meet Tommy until I was 19. Now I have the chance to fast-track my career, but in a body that looks nothing like the dominant center I used to be. "What's your vertical?" Tommy asks, pulling out a tablet. 52 inches, I answer without hesitation. It's not a lie, that's what I could jump at my peak, though it took years of training to get there. Coach Martinez snorts. "Chen, stop lying to the man. You've never even been tested." Tommy holds up a hand, silencing the coach. "Prove it," he says to me. "That rim's mounted at 10 feet. Show me you can touch it." The thing about muscle memory is that it transcends bodies. Even though this frame is different, smaller, the neural pathways are the same. I take 3 steps back, feeling the familiar rhythm of my approach. The concrete seems to compress under my feet as I launch myself skyward, every fiber in my legs exploding with power that shouldn't exist in someone my size. I don't just touch the rim. I grab it with both hands and hang there for a moment, my feet dangling 4 feet off the ground. The metal groans under my grip, the replacement rim they hastily installed during lunch. I drop down gracefully, landing in a perfect crouch. The silence in the gym is deafening. Tommy types something into his tablet, his expression unreadable. "Interesting," he murmurs. "Very interesting." He looks at Coach Martinez. "I'd like to see him scrimmage with your varsity team." "Mr. Reeves," the coach sputters. Chen's not even on varsity. He's JV. Has been for 2 years. The kid's talented, but he's just too small for. Set up the scrimmage, Tommy interrupts, his tone brooking no argument. Today, I want to see what he can do against real competition. As Coach Martinez reluctantly calls the varsity players in from the locker room, I catch Tommy watching me with calculating eyes. He knows something's different about me. He just can't put his finger on what. That's fine. Let him wonder. In 20 minutes, when I'm posterizing players twice my size and draining threes from the logo, he'll understand. The varsity players file in, a collection of genetic freaks and athletic specimens that dominated my nightmares in my first timeline. There's Jake Morrison, 6'8" center, who went on to play Division I before blowing out his knee. Kevin Walsh, the point guard who's already committed to Duke. And in the back, trying to look nonchalant, is the reason my blood runs cold every time I step on this court. Danny Rodriguez, 6'4" shooting guard, built like a truck, plays like a sledgehammer. In my original timeline, Danny was the one who ended my high school career with a dirty elbow to the head during the state championship. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital and never played organized basketball again until college, when I'd finally grown tall enough to compete. This time will be different. All right, ladies, Coach Martinez shouts, clearly flustered by the whole situation. We're running a scrimmage, 5-on-5. Chen, you're with the white jerseys. He tosses me a practice jersey, his expression making it clear he thinks this is a waste of everyone's time. I pull the jersey over my head, feeling the familiar weight of the fabric. The other players on my team, mostly bench warmers and sophomores, look at me with a mixture of confusion and pity. They know what's about to happen to me. In their minds, I'm about to get crushed by players who are bigger, stronger, and faster. They're not wrong about two of those things. Chen! Kevin Walsh calls out, dribbling the ball with casual arrogance. You sure you want to do this? No shame in backing out now. I stretch my hamstrings, feeling the familiar pre-game ritual calm my nerves. Just worried you can't keep up, Walsh. The laughter that ripples through the gym is exactly what I expected. These guys have been watching me get demolished for 2 years. They think they know what I'm capable of. That's their first mistake. Tommy Reeves takes a seat in the bleachers, his tablet ready. Coach Martinez reluctantly agrees to referee, though his body language screams that he'd rather be anywhere else. The stage is set. Walsh brings the ball up court, his footwork precise and confident. He's good, Division I good. But I've played against guys who make him look like he's moving in slow motion. I mirror his movements, staying low, keeping my center of gravity perfect. He tries to blow past me with a quick first step. I stay with him. Surprise flickers across his face as I force him toward the sideline, my positioning textbook perfect. He pulls back, reassessing. In my previous life, this is where he would have simply posted me up, using his height advantage to back me down. But something in my stance, something in the way I'm moving, makes him hesitate. He passes to Morrison in the post instead. Big mistake. Morrison tries to establish position against me, expecting to muscle his way to an easy basket. What he gets instead is 230 pounds of compressed muscle and 23 years of professional experience. I absorb his first bump like it's nothing, stay perfectly balanced, and when he goes up for his shot, I'm already in the air. The block is violent, not just a deflection, a rejection that sends the ball caroming off the far wall. Morrison hits the ground hard, staring up at me with shock and something that might be fear. Ball don't lie, I mutter, the old Rasheed Wallace phrase slipping out automatically. My teammate grabs the loose ball and pushes it up court. I trail the play, my mind already calculating angles and positioning. The defense is still in transition, still trying to process what just happened. When the pass comes my way at the top of the key, I'm already in perfect shooting position. The three-pointer I drain is pure. Nothing but net, the ball dropping through with that perfect swish that every shooter dreams of. The gym falls silent, except for the echoes of the ball bouncing on the hardwood. Tommy Reeves makes another note on his tablet. The next possession, Danny Rodriguez decides to test me personally. He calls for the ball, waves everyone else out of the way, and squares up against me at the free throw line. His smile is the same predatory grin I remember from my nightmares. The look he had right before he ended my career. Come on, little man, he taunts, slowly backing me down. Show me what you got. What I have is 23 years of knowing exactly how bullies like him think. He's expecting me to either fold under pressure or make some desperate emotional play. Instead, I wait. I let him think he's in control, let him get comfortable, let him commit to his move. When he spins for what he thinks will be an easy layup, I'm already there. Not just there. I'm in the perfect position to steal the ball clean, ripping it away from him so smoothly that it takes him a second to realize what happened. By the time he turns around, I'm already at half court, pushing the fast break. The dunk I throw down on the other end isn't just about scoring, it's about making a statement. The rim shudders under the impact, the backboard vibrating like a tuning fork. When I land, I stare directly at Danny Rodriguez, making sure he understands that the dynamic has shifted permanently. Time out, Coach Martinez calls, his voice shaky. Everyone take 5 minutes. The players scatter to grab water and catch their breath, but their eyes keep drifting back to me. They're seeing something they can't quite comprehend. A player who looks like he shouldn't belong on the same court as them, playing like he's from a completely different level. Tommy Reeves approaches me as I towel off sweat that shouldn't exist after such light exertion. Marcus, right? He says, extending his hand. His grip is firm, professional. Tommy Reeves, Lakers organization. I've got to ask, where did this come from? Your coach tells me you've been riding the bench for 2 years. I take a sip of water, buying time to craft my response. I've been working on my game, I say finally. A lot. Some things just took time to click. It's not technically a lie. I have been working on my game for 23 professional seasons. The fact that those seasons happened in a different timeline is just a minor detail. Your positioning is remarkable, Tommy continues, studying me like I'm a puzzle he's trying to solve. Your court awareness, your anticipation, that's not something you can teach. That's either natural instinct or years of high-level experience. He pauses. And you're what, 17? 18 next month, I correct. Interesting. He makes another note. Tell me something, Marcus. What's your goal here? College ball? Something beyond that? I meet his eyes directly, letting him see the certainty that comes from having fought that fight before. Coach, I've been ready for this fight my whole life. The second quarter is when they start to take me seriously. Beverly switches to a more physical style of defense, using his body to bump me off my preferred spots, trying to disrupt my rhythm with constant contact. The referees let most of it go. Welcome to the NBA, Rook. But physicality is a two-way street. When Beverly tries to back me down in the post, expecting to use his size advantage, he discovers that my compact frame is deceiving. Years of battling 7-footers have taught me how to use leverage and positioning to neutralize size differences. I absorb his contact, stay perfectly balanced, and when he goes up for his shot, I'm already there to strip the ball. The steal leads to a fast break where I thread a no-look pass between 2 defenders for an easy dunk. The crowd explodes, and I catch LeBron on the bench, nodding in approval. Kid's got vision, I hear someone say from the broadcast table. If they only knew. The turning point comes midway through the third quarter. We're up by 15, and the Clippers are getting desperate. Beverly starts pressing full court, trying to speed up the game and force me into mistakes. It's a strategy that works against most rookies. The frantic pace, the constant pressure, the weight of performing on the biggest stage. I slow the game down, and instead of rushing, I methodically break down his press, using screens and ball movement to create easy scoring opportunities. Every possession becomes a chess match, and I'm playing with the knowledge of someone who's seen every possible variation. The sequence that breaks the game open starts with a steal at half court. I read Beverly's pass before he makes it, jumping the passing lane and taking the ball cleanly. Instead of going for the easy fast break score, I slow down, let the defense recover, and call for a specific play. What follows is basketball poetry. 5 passes, 3 screens, perfect spacing and timing that creates an open 3-pointer for our shooting guard. The ball barely touches the rim as it drops through, and the arena erupts in appreciation for the beauty of the game played at its highest level. That's veteran basketball from a 17-year-old, the announcer says, his voice filled with wonder. The fourth quarter becomes academic. Every time the Clippers mount a run, I have an answer. When they try to trap me, I find the open man. When they play off me, I drill threes from impossible range. When they get physical, I turn it into a chess match where experience trumps athleticism. The final buzzer sounds with us winning by 23. My stat line reads like something from a video game: 28 points, 15 assists, 8 steals, perfect shooting from three-point range. Numbers that shouldn't be possible for someone making their NBA debut. But it's not the numbers that matter, it's the way I earned them. With intelligence, with patience, with the kind of basketball IQ that can't be taught or faked. In the locker room after the game, the atmosphere is electric. Veteran players who were skeptical about the kid from nowhere are now believers. LeBron pulls me aside, his expression serious. "Rook," he says, using the nickname that feels both foreign and familiar. What I saw tonight? That wasn't beginner's luck. That was understanding the game at a level most players never reach. He pauses, studying my face. "You remind me of myself when I first came into the league. That confidence, that court vision, that ability to make everyone around you better." The comparison hits me like a lightning bolt. In my previous life, I was compared to Shaq, to Wilt, to other dominant big men. But LeBron sees something different in this version of me. The point guard skills, the leadership, the way I elevate my teammates. "Just remember," LeBron continues, "this league will test you in ways you can't imagine. On the court and off. Stay humble, stay hungry, and never forget why you fell in love with this game." His words carry the weight of someone who's navigated the pressures of superstardom from a young age. In my previous life, I learned these lessons the hard way, through mistakes and failures that took years to overcome. Now I have the benefit of that experience compressed into a 17-year-old body. The media scrum after the game is a feeding frenzy. Reporters shouting questions about my background, my training, my sudden emergence as an NBA-ready player. I navigate the interviews with the same patience I showed on the court, giving thoughtful answers while revealing nothing substantial about my true story. "Marcus, your court vision tonight was remarkable," one reporter says. "You seem to see plays developing before they happened. How do you explain that level of anticipation?" "Basketball is a game of patterns," I respond, choosing my words carefully. When you study the game enough, when you really understand how players move and react, you start to see those patterns before they complete themselves. It's the truth, just not the whole truth. I've studied these patterns for 23 professional seasons. I know how every player in this league thinks, how they react under pressure, what their tendencies are in crucial moments. "What's your ceiling as a player?" another reporter asks. "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" The question makes me smile. Where do I see myself? I see myself exactly where I was in my previous life, as one of the greatest players in NBA history. But this time, I'll get there through a different path, with a different skill set, in a body that defies conventional wisdom about what an NBA superstar should look like. I just want to keep getting better, I say diplomatically. Keep learning, keep growing, keep helping my team win games. The season that follows is a revelation. Game by game, I dismantle every preconception about size in basketball. Against teams that try to post me up, I use my low center of gravity and perfect positioning to neutralize their size advantage. Against teams that try to speed up the pace, I control tempo like a conductor leading an orchestra. The breakthrough performance comes in December against the Golden State Warriors, the team I played for in my previous life. Facing Stephen Curry, one of the greatest point guards in history, feels like looking in a funhouse mirror. He's everything I used to be in my first career. The underdog who proved that skill trumps size. The player who changed how basketball is played. The duel that unfolds over 48 minutes is instant classic material. Curry, with his impossible range and lightning-quick release against me, with my court vision and defensive intensity. He scores 42 points on spectacular shooting. I counter with 38 points and 19 assists, orchestrating our offense with the precision of a master surgeon. The moment that defines the game comes in overtime. Curry has the ball, 3 seconds on the clock, Warriors down by 1. He's in perfect position for one of his signature deep threes, the kind of shot that has won him multiple championships, and I see it developing before he even starts his shooting motion. The screen coming from the left, the slight hesitation to get his defender off balance, the step back that creates just enough space for a clean look. I've watched this sequence hundreds of times in my previous life, analyzing film, trying to understand how he creates these miraculous shots. This time, I'm ready. I fight over the screen with perfect timing, staying low and balanced, never giving him the space he needs. When he goes into his shooting motion, I'm already in the air, my hand stretched to its maximum extension. I don't block the shot. I alter it just enough to send it clanging off the rim. The rebound comes to me, and as the buzzer sounds, I realize I've just outdueled one of the greatest players in NBA history. The arena erupts. My teammates mob me at center court, and somewhere in the stands, scouts from every other team are furiously taking notes. After the game, Curry approaches me with the grace that marks all truly great players. "Hell of a game, Rook," he says, extending his hand. "You played like a veteran out there. Keep this up, and you're going to be special." Coming from him, the compliment means everything. Stephen Curry changed the game of basketball, proved that size doesn't determine destiny, showed an entire generation that skill and intelligence can overcome any physical limitation. Having his respect feels like receiving a torch passed from one revolutionary to another. The All-Star break arrives with me averaging 24 points, 12 assists, and 7 rebounds per game. The numbers are unprecedented for a rookie, especially one who doesn't fit the traditional mold of NBA stardom. More importantly, we're 38, 15th in the Western Conference, playing basketball that has both analysts and fans raving about our potential. The All-Star selection is a foregone conclusion, but hearing my name called still sends chills down my spine. I'm the youngest All-Star in NBA history, a record that feels both surreal and inevitable. Walking into the arena for All-Star Weekend, seeing my face on banners and merchandise, drives home the reality of what I've accomplished. But it's in the locker room, surrounded by the best players in the world, that the true magnitude hits me. These are men I've competed against in my previous life, legends whose careers I've studied and admired. Now they're welcoming me as a peer, treating me as an equal despite my age and unconventional path to stardom. "Young fella," Giannis Antetokounmpo says, his accent thick with genuine warmth. "What you doing out there? It's not normal. Good, not normal. You play like you've been in this league 10 years. If he only knew, the All-Star game itself is a showcase for everything that makes basketball beautiful. The pace is relaxed, the defense optional, the focus on entertainment and spectacular plays. But even in this context, I find ways to stand out. A no-look pass that threads through 3 defenders. A steal that leads to a fast break assist. A three-pointer from the logo that brings the crowd to its feet. When the final buzzer sounds, I have 18 points and 15 assists. And more importantly, I've earned the respect of every player on the court. The post-game interviews focus on my maturity, my basketball IQ, my ability to make everyone around me better. "Playing with Marcus is like playing with a coach on the court," LeBron tells the media. "He sees things the rest of us miss, makes passes we don't even think about." That kind of vision is rare at any age, but in a 17-year-old, it's unprecedented. The second half of the season becomes a coronation tour. We finish with the second-best record in franchise history, and I become the first rookie ever to lead the league in assists. The individual accolades pile up. Rookie of the Year is a unanimous selection. All-NBA second team, finalist for Most Valuable Player. But statistics and awards are just numbers. What matters is that I've proven something fundamental about basketball. The game isn't about conforming to expectations, it's about transcending them. Height, age, conventional wisdom. None of it matters if you understand the game at its deepest level. The playoffs are where legends are born, and I enter them with the quiet confidence of someone who's been here before. Our first-round opponent is the Portland Trail Blazers, led by Damian Lillard, one of the most clutch players in NBA history. The series becomes an immediate classic. Lillard and I trade spectacular performances, each game decided by possessions and inches. He has the experience and the reputation, but I have something he doesn't expect: the knowledge of exactly how these crucial moments unfold. Game 4, tied at 2 games apiece, comes down to the final possession. Lillard has the ball, 18 seconds on the clock, Blazers down by 1. The crowd at Staples Center is on its feet, sensing history in the making. I know what's coming. Lillard is going to call for a screen, create separation, and launch one of his signature deep threes. It's the same play he used to eliminate my team in the 2019 playoffs of my previous life, a shot that haunted my dreams for months afterward. This time, I don't let him get comfortable. I pressure him from the moment he touches the ball, making every dribble difficult, forcing him toward help defense. When he tries to create space for his shot, I'm already there, my hand in his face, my body positioned perfectly to contest without fouling. The shot he gets off is rushed, off balance, nothing like the clean looks he's accustomed to. It clangs off the rim, and I secure the rebound as the buzzer sounds, sealing our series victory. In the locker room afterward, the celebration is muted by the weight of what comes next. We've advanced to the second round, but our opponent is the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, led by Giannis, and arguably the deepest roster in the league. Nobody expects us to win this series, Coach Vogel tells the team. The experts, the media, even some people in our own building think we're overmatched. And maybe on paper, we are. But basketball isn't played on paper. He looks directly at me as he speaks, and I understand what he's really saying. This team's success has been built around my ability to elevate everyone else's game, to see possibilities that others miss, to make the impossible look routine. We've got something they don't, Vogel continues. We've got a player who makes everyone around him better, a leader who sees the game 3 moves ahead, a competitor who's never satisfied with good enough. The Milwaukee series pushes me to my absolute limits. Giannis is a force of nature, a 7-foot athlete who moves like a guard and dominates like a center. Defending him requires perfect positioning, flawless help defense, and a deep understanding of how to use his aggression against him. But the real test comes from their coaching staff, who devise increasingly complex schemes to limit my effectiveness. Double teams that come from unexpected angles, switching defenses that try to exploit my size, physical play that tests my resolve and my body's durability. Each game becomes a chess match played at breakneck speed. They adjust, I counter-adjust. They find new ways to pressure me, I find new ways to create advantages for my teammates. The margins are razor thin, every possession crucial, every decision magnified under the playoff spotlight. Game 7 takes place at Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee, in front of a crowd that's been waiting decades for another championship. The atmosphere is electric, hostile, the kind of environment that can overwhelm young players and expose their inexperience, and I thrive in it. From the opening tip, I play with the composure of a seasoned veteran. Every shot is measured, every pass precise, every defensive rotation perfect. When they try to speed up the pace, I slow it down. When they try to get physical, I use their aggression to create fouls and easy scoring opportunities. The game comes down to the final 2 minutes, tied at 98. Giannis has 41 points and is playing like a man possessed. But basketball is a team sport, and I've spent the entire game making sure my teammates are ready for this moment. The sequence that wins the game starts with a defensive stop. Giannis drives hard to the basket, expecting to overpower our defense with pure athleticism. Instead, he finds perfect help defense, 3 players rotating in harmony, forcing him into a difficult shot that clangs off the rim. I secure the rebound and push the ball immediately, recognizing the opportunity for a fast break before the defense has time to set up. My pass finds Anthony Davis trailing the play, and his dunk gives us a 2-point lead with 93 seconds remaining. The crowd falls silent, stunned by the sudden shift in momentum. On the next possession, I steal the ball from their point guard, reading his eyes and jumping the passing lane at exactly the right moment. Another easy score, and suddenly we're up 4 with a minute to play. The final 60 seconds feel like an eternity, but I manage them like I've been in this situation 1,000 times before. Because in a way, I have. Every crucial possession, every high-pressure moment, every decision that determines the outcome of a season. I've lived through all of it in my previous life. When the buzzer sounds, sealing our victory and advancing us to the conference finals, the celebration is immediate and overwhelming. My teammates mob me at center court, the visiting fans in the arena cheer. And somewhere in the stands, I catch sight of Walter, the maintenance worker from our practice facility, wiping tears from his eyes. The conference finals against the Phoenix Suns feel like destiny fulfilling itself. Chris Paul, the veteran point guard who spent his entire career chasing a championship, against me, the rookie who's already accomplished more than most players achieve in their entire careers. The narrative writes itself, old guard versus new blood. experience versus youth, conventional wisdom versus revolutionary potential. But for me, it's simpler than that. It's about proving that basketball is a game of mind and heart, not just size and athleticism. The series goes 6 games, each one a masterclass in basketball played at its highest level. Paul brings everything he has: 15 years of playoff experience, countless clutch moments, the wisdom that comes from a lifetime dedicated to the game, but I match him possession by possession, shot by shot, decision by decision. The clinching game takes place at Staples Center, in front of a crowd that's been watching basketball history unfold all season. When I sink the final shot, a three-pointer from 28 feet with Paul's hand in my face, the arena erupts with a sound I've never heard before. It's not just celebration, it's recognition. Recognition that they've witnessed something special, something that will be talked about for generations. A 17-year-old kid who came from nowhere and led his team to the NBA Finals in his rookie season. In the locker room afterward, as champagne flows and my teammates celebrate around me, I take a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what we've accomplished. Not just reaching the finals, but doing it in a way that challenges every assumption about how basketball should be played. Coach Vogel finds me in the quiet corner where I've retreated to process the moment. "Marcus," he says, his voice thick with emotion, "what you've done this season, it's not just about basketball. You've shown an entire generation of kids that they don't have to look a certain way or fit a certain mold to achieve their dreams." His words hit me harder than any stat line or individual award. Because that's what this has always been about, isn't it? Not just proving that I belong, but proving that anyone can belong if they have the heart and the mind for it. The NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics represent the ultimate test. They're a team built on tradition, with players who understand the weight of the moment and the pressure that comes with playing for a championship. Their starting lineup includes Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, 2 wings who can match my scoring while bringing superior size and athleticism. But they don't have what I have: the memory of a lifetime spent preparing for this exact moment. Game 1 sets the tone for the entire series. The TD Garden crowd is hostile from the opening tip, treating me like an interloper who doesn't belong on this stage. Every shot I miss draws cheers. Every turnover brings the arena to its feet. I answer with the kind of performance that silences critics and converts skeptics. 35 points, 14 assists, 9 rebounds, playing every possession like my life depends on it. When the final buzzer sounds and we've stolen home court advantage, the arena that spent the entire night trying to rattle me gives me a standing ovation. The series evolves into an epic that will be remembered as one of the greatest finals in NBA history. Each game is decided by single digits, each possession crucial, each moment magnified under the brightest spotlight in sports. Game 4 becomes the turning point. We're down 2-1 in the series, playing at home, facing elimination if we lose. The pressure is immense, the kind that can break young players and expose their inexperience. Instead, I play the best game of my life. 43 points, 16 assists, perfect shooting from three-point range. Every shot feels inevitable. Every pass finds its target. Every defensive rotation comes at exactly the right moment. By the fourth quarter, even the Celtics players are shaking their heads in amazement at what they're witnessing. The performance ties the series and shifts all momentum in our favor. In the post-game interviews, Tatum admits what everyone can see. He's not playing like a rookie. He's playing like someone who's been here before, who knows exactly what it takes to win at this level. If he only knew how right he is. Game 7 takes place at Staples Center, in front of a crowd that's been waiting since 2010 for another championship. The atmosphere is electric, charged with the kind of energy that can only come from a title hanging in the balance. The game is everything a Game 7 should be: dramatic, physical, decided by the smallest margins. Both teams play with desperation, knowing that a single mistake could end their season and define their legacy. With 3 minutes remaining, we're down by 4 points. The crowd is anxious, sensing that our fairy tale season might be coming to an end. But I've been in this situation before in my previous life, and I know that championships aren't won by hoping. They're won by taking control when the moment demands it. The sequence that changes everything starts with a steal. The Celtics are trying to milk the clock, protect their lead with careful possessions. But I read their point guard's eyes, anticipate his pass, and intercept the ball cleanly. Instead of rushing, I slow down, let the defense recover, and call for a specific play. What follows is basketball poetry. Perfect ball movement, precise screening, timing that creates an open three-pointer for our shooting guard. Swish, down 2 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. On the next possession, I force another turnover, this time by pressuring their ball handler into a traveling violation. The crowd is on its feet now, sensing the momentum shift. Our possession results in another three-pointer, this one from me, stepping back from 26 feet and drilling it with ice in my veins. We're up by 2 with 90 seconds left. The final minute and a half feels like an eternity, but I manage every possession like a conductor leading a symphony. When they score to tie, I answer with a floater in traffic. When they get a stop, I create a steal on the other end. When the pressure mounts, I stay calm, make the right decisions, trust my teammates to execute. With 10 seconds remaining, we have the ball tied at 108. The play Coach Vogel draws up is simple. Clear out, let me create something in isolation. It's the ultimate vote of confidence, putting the championship in the hands of a 17-year-old rookie. As I dribble at the top of the key, time slowing to a crawl, I think about everything that brought me to this moment. The death that ended my first life, the rebirth that gave me this second chance, the coach who laughed at my height, the rim I shattered in an empty gym, the long journey from forgotten benchwarmer to NBA Finals hero. I drive to my right, using a crossover to create just enough space for a clean look. The defender is on me, hand in my face, but I've made this shot thousands of times before. The ball leaves my hands with 3 seconds on the clock, arcing through the air with perfect rotation. Swish. The arena explodes. My teammates rush the court. Confetti falls from the rafters. Somewhere in the chaos, I catch sight of Coach Martinez in the stands, shaking his head in amazement at what the kid he once dismissed has accomplished. But the moment that means the most comes when I find Walter, the maintenance worker who saw something special in me from the beginning. He's standing near our bench, tears streaming down his face, clapping with the pride of someone who witnessed history in the making. "Huh, you did it, young man," he says when I reach him. "You showed them all." As I hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy above my head, feeling its weight and understanding its significance, I realize that this journey was never just about basketball. It was about proving that second chances exist, that destiny can be rewritten, that the only limits that matter are the ones we place on ourselves. The boy who was laughed at for his height has become a champion. The rim I broke in anger has been replaced by a trophy that will last forever, and somewhere in the cosmos, the laws of physics are still trying to figure out how a 5'8" teenager just changed the game of basketball forever. In the locker room afterward, as champagne flows and reporters shout questions about what comes next, I hold my finals MVP trophy and smile. They want to know about my future, about my potential, about what other records I might break. But I'm not thinking about the future anymore. I'm thinking about the present, about this perfect moment, about the journey that brought me here and the people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Height is just a number. Heart is everything. And tonight, in front of the whole world, I proved that the biggest hearts can fit in the smallest packages. The celebration continues around me, but I step outside onto the loading dock, where the California night air feels cool against my skin. Above me, the stars shine with the same indifference they showed when I was just another forgotten player riding the bench. But I'm not forgotten anymore. I'm a champion. I'm proof that dreams don't have height requirements, that second chances can lead to first places, that sometimes the best revenge is simply becoming everything they said you could never be. Tomorrow, the world will ask what's next for the kid who defied gravity and expectations in equal measure. But tonight, I'm just going to enjoy being exactly where I always knew I belonged. On top of the basketball world, looking down at everyone who said I was too small to matter. Coach Martinez laughed at my height, I broke his rim, and signed an NBA contract. But more than that, I broke every rule about what's possible when you refuse to accept limitations. The game of basketball will never be the same, and neither will I. It comes from having already lived this dream once. I want to play in the NBA, I say, and I want to play now. The laughter that comes from behind me is Danny Rodriguez, still nursing his wounded pride. You hear that, coach? Little man thinks he's NBA material. He walks over, invading my personal space the way bullies do. Kid, I hate to break it to you, but the league's got a height requirement. They don't let children play with the grown-ups. In my previous life, this moment broke me. The humiliation, the laughter, the crushing weight of knowing he was right. I wasn't big enough, wasn't strong enough, wasn't good enough. I carried that failure with me until the day I died. This time I smile. You're right, Danny, I say, my voice calm and measured. Height matters in the NBA. But you know what matters more? I step closer, and despite giving up 6 inches, something in my presence makes him take a half step back. Heart, IQ. The ability to make everyone around you better, the willingness to sacrifice your body for the win. I pause, letting the words sink in. Things you wouldn't understand. The gym has gone quiet again. Everyone's watching, waiting to see how this plays out. Danny's face flushes red, his hands clenching into fists. You little... Gentlemen, Tommy Reeves interrupts smoothly, stepping between us. Perhaps we should let the game do the talking. Danny, I believe it's your ball. The second half of the scrimmage is a clinic. Every possession, I make the right play. Every defensive rotation, I'm in perfect position. When they try to post me up, I strip the ball. When they try to go around me, I stay step for step. When they try to shoot over me, I'm already in the air, contesting every shot like my life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. The breakthrough moment comes with 2 minutes left in the scrimmage. My team is up by 8, an impossible margin considering we're supposed to be the scrubs. Danny Rodriguez has the ball again, desperation creeping into his movements. He's pressing, forcing shots, trying to will his team back into the game through pure aggression. When he drives hard to the basket, lowering his shoulder to initiate contact, I see the exact same move that hospitalized me 25 years ago. The elbow is coming up, aimed at my head, delivered with all the malicious intent of someone who's used to ending other people's dreams. This time, I'm ready. I step into the charge, absorbing the contact perfectly, my body positioned so that his momentum carries him past me while I stay perfectly balanced. The referee's whistle screams through the gym. Offensive foul. Danny goes sprawling, sliding across the hardwood on his back while I remain standing, looking down at him with something that might be pity. Foul on Rodriguez, Coach Martinez calls, his voice barely above a whisper. That's his 5th. He's out. Danny stares up at me from the floor, and for the first time, I see something other than arrogance in his eyes. It's recognition, the dawning awareness that he's no longer the apex predator in this ecosystem. He's been dethroned, and by someone he thought was beneath him. As he walks off the court, his teammates pat his shoulders in consolation, but their eyes keep drifting back to me. The dynamic has shifted permanently. I'm no longer the target. I'm the threat. The final 2 minutes are academic. My team extends the lead to 12, and I finish with what the stat sheet will show as 28 points, 15 rebounds, 11 assists, and 7 blocks. A quadruple double in a high school scrimmage. Numbers that shouldn't be possible for someone my size. But Tommy Reeves isn't looking at the stat sheet. He's watching me move, studying the way I communicate with my teammates, analyzing the decisions I make in real time. When the final buzzer sounds, he's already on his feet, walking toward me with purpose. Marcus, he says, his voice carrying a gravity that makes everyone in the gym lean in to listen. I need to ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest with me. Have you ever played organized basketball before this moment? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Coach Martinez starts to speak, probably to mention my 2 years of JV disappointment, but Tommy silences him with a look. I consider my options. I could lie, create some elaborate story about summer leagues and private coaching, but something in Tommy's eyes tells me he already knows the answer. He's a professional scout. His job is to see through deception and identify authentic talent. I've been playing basketball my whole life, I say finally. But you're asking if I've ever played it like this before. I pause, meeting his gaze directly. No, this is the first time. It's the truth in its own way. This is the first time I've played with the body and mind working in perfect harmony. The first time my knowledge and my physical gifts have aligned. The first time I've been able to show what I'm truly capable of. Tommy nods slowly, as if my answer confirms something he already suspected. I'm going to make some calls, he says. There are people who need to see you play. Important people. He hands me a business card, heavy cardstock with the Lakers logo embossed in gold. I want you to think very carefully about your next steps, Marcus. College is the traditional path, but for someone with your unique skill set, there might be other options. The implications hit me like a lightning bolt. He's talking about the NBA draft, about skipping college entirely, about fast-tracking a career that took me decades to build in my previous life. What kind of options? I ask, though I already know the answer. The kind that change everything, Tommy says simply. But first, I need to see more. I'm arranging a private workout for you next week. NBA-level competition, NBA-level coaching staff. Think you can handle that? The laughter that bubbles up from my chest is genuine and unstoppable. Can I handle NBA-level competition? I dominated it for over 2 decades. I was NBA-level competition. I can handle it, I say, my voice steady with the confidence that comes from certainty. As Tommy walks away, his phone already pressed to his ear, I become aware of the silence in the gym. Every player, every coach, every manager is staring at me like I've just performed a magic trick they can't explain. Coach Martinez approaches slowly, his clipboard forgotten in his hands. Chen, he says, his voice softer than I've ever heard it. I owe you an apology. What I saw today? I've been coaching for 20 years and I've never seen anything like that. The apology I've been waiting for since my first life. The validation that should feel like vindication. Instead, all I feel is emptiness. This man's opinion stopped mattering to me the day he laughed at my dreams. Coach, I say, pulling off my practice jersey, I appreciate that. I really do. But respect that has to be earned isn't really respect at all. I hand him the jersey, the fabric still damp with sweat. I won't be coming to practice anymore. I have other commitments. The week that follows passes in a blur of phone calls and meetings that feel like déjà vu from my previous life. NBA executives who want to understand my development curve. College coaches who are suddenly very interested in offering full scholarships. Sports agents who smell opportunity like sharks smell blood in the water. Through it all, I maintain the same story. I've been working on my game in private, developing skills that finally clicked during the scrimmage. It's close enough to the truth that I can sell it convincingly, even if the whole truth would get me committed to a psychiatric facility. The private workout Tommy arranged takes place at the Lakers practice facility in El Segundo. Walking into that building, the same building where I spent countless hours as a professional, feels like stepping through a portal between worlds. The smell of the court, the echo of sneakers on hardwood, the particular quality of light from the overhead fixtures, it's all exactly as I remember. The players they've brought in for the workout are a mix of current NBA bench players and G League standouts. Professional athletes in their 20s and 30s, men who've dedicated their lives to basketball and have the physiques to prove it. Against them, I look like someone's little brother who wandered into the wrong gym. That illusion lasts exactly 1 possession. The first player to guard me is Marcus Thompson, a 6'6" swingman who spent 3 seasons with the Clippers. He's everything a basketball player should look like. Tall, athletic, with the kind of wingspan that makes shooting difficult for normal people. I am not normal people. The first shot I take is from 30 feet out, well beyond the three-point line, with Thompson's hand directly in my face. The ball arcs through the air with perfect rotation, dropping through the net without touching iron. The gym falls silent except for the soft whisper of the ball hitting the floor. Lucky shot, someone mutters from the sideline. The second shot comes from the same spot with the same result. Then a third. By the 4th consecutive make from impossible range, the murmurs have stopped. By the 10th, there's a crowd gathering around the court. Assistant coaches, front office executives, even some of the trainers have stopped what they're doing to watch. Jesus Christ, Thompson breathes, staring at me like I'm an optical illusion. Who is this kid? That's when they decide to get serious. The player they bring in next is someone I recognize immediately. Andre Williams, a 6'10" center, who's currently playing in the G League but has NBA aspirations. In my previous life, Andre never quite made it to the big leagues. Too slow on defense, not quite skilled enough on offense. But he's still a professional athlete with 40 pounds and 6 inches on me. All right, Rook, Andre says, settling into a defensive stance. Let's see how you handle a real big man. What he discovers over the next 5 minutes is that size only matters if you can use it effectively. Every time he tries to establish position in the post, I'm already in perfect position to deny him the ball. When he does get it, I strip it cleanly, my hands faster than his can react. When he goes up for shots, I'm already in the air, contesting every attempt with the timing that only comes from playing against the best in the world. The final straw comes when he tries to dunk on me. He gets a step on his defender, builds up a head of steam, and rises toward the rim with all the authority of a professional athlete who's been dominating physically inferior competition his entire life. I meet him at the apex. The collision in midair is seismic. For a moment, we're both suspended there, two bodies defying gravity, locked in a contest of pure will. Then the ball changes direction with a violence that echoes through the gym like a gunshot, and Andre is falling backward while I land gracefully on both feet. The silence that follows is complete and total. Holy shit, someone whispers from the sideline. The kid just posterized Andre. Word spreads through the facility like wildfire. Players emerge from the weight room, coaches abandon their film sessions, even the front office staff finds excuse to walk past the court. Within 20 minutes, there's a crowd of 50 people watching me play basketball, each one trying to understand what they're seeing. The workout evolves into something beyond a simple evaluation. Players start calling out specific challenges, testing different aspects of my game. They want to see me handle double teams, run fast breaks, defend multiple positions. Each test reveals another layer of skill that shouldn't exist in someone who was riding the bench at a high school JV team 2 weeks ago. Rob Pelinka, the Lakers' general manager, appears courtside during the final scrimmage. He's a man I know well from my previous life. Sharp, analytical, always 3 moves ahead. Seeing him here now, watching me with the same intensity he once reserved for trade deadline deals, feels like validation and terror in equal measure. Tommy, he says, pulling the scout aside, what exactly am I looking at here? Tommy checks his notes, though by now he probably has my performance memorized. 34 points, 18 rebounds, 13 assists, 9 blocks in 40 minutes of play. Shot 67% from the field, 42% from 3, perfect from the free throw line, against professional competition. Pelinka studies me as I towel off courtside, his expression unreadable. Those are video game numbers, Tommy. Those are numbers that don't happen in real life. I know, Tommy replies. That's what makes this so interesting. They approach me together, and I can feel the weight of the moment settling on my shoulders. This is it. The conversation that will determine whether I spend the next 4 years pretending to be a college student or whether I jump directly back into the life I was born to live. Marcus, Pelinka says, his voice carrying the authority of someone who's accustomed to making multi-million-dollar decisions. What we saw today was extraordinary. Your size isn't traditional for an NBA player, but your skill set is undeniable. Your court vision, your shooting range, your defensive instincts, these are things that can't be taught. He pauses, studying my face for any sign of intimidation or uncertainty. He finds none. I'm going to be direct with you, he continues. We'd like to offer you a contract, not a draft position, not a promise of future consideration, an actual NBA contract. You'd be the youngest player in league history, but based on what we've seen today, we believe you're ready for that challenge. The offer hangs in the air between us, heavy with possibility and consequence. In my previous life, I didn't reach the NBA until I was 22 years old, after 4 years of college basketball and a growth spurt that finally gave me the size to compete. Now I'm being offered the same opportunity at 17, in a body that looks nothing like a traditional NBA player. What kind of contract? I ask, keeping my voice steady. 2 years, partially guaranteed, Pelinka says. League minimum for someone your age, which comes out to about $1.8 million for the first year. Full guarantee kicks in if you make the opening day roster. The numbers are meaningless to me, pocket change compared to the contracts I signed in my previous life. But the opportunity they represent is priceless. The chance to prove that basketball isn't about conforming to expectations, but about transcending them. I accept, I say without hesitation. The smile that spreads across Palinka's face is predatory and pleased. Outstanding. Tommy will handle the paperwork and scheduling. We'll want you to report to training camp in 6 weeks, which gives us time to prepare the media narrative and handle the logistics. As they walk away, deep in conversation about press conferences and marketing strategies, I remain alone on the court. The gym has mostly emptied, but the echoes of what just happened still reverberate through the space. I pick up a basketball from the rack and begin shooting, letting the familiar rhythm calm my racing mind. Excuse me. I turn to find a maintenance worker, an elderly African-American man with kind eyes and calloused hands. He's holding a mop and bucket, but he's not cleaning. He's been watching. You mind if I ask you something, young man? He says, his voice carrying the weight of years and experience. Sure. How long you been playing ball? It's the same question everyone's been asking, but coming from him, it feels different. More honest. More real. My whole life, I answer, but today was the first time I really played. He nods slowly, as if my answer makes perfect sense to him. My name's Walter. I've been working in this building for 37 years. Seen every kind of player you can imagine walk through those doors. Superstars, busts, everything in between. He sets down his mop and walks closer, his eyes never leaving mine. What I saw today, he continues, that wasn't about size or speed or any of that physical stuff. That was about understanding the game at a level most people never reach. That was about seeing things before they happen, knowing where to be before you need to be there. He pauses, and in the silence, I hear the weight of 3 decades watching basketball at its highest level. That kind of understanding, Walter says finally, it don't come from coaching or practice or natural talent. That comes from living the game, breathing it, failing at it, and succeeding at it until it becomes part of your soul. He studies my face. You got an old soul, young man. Question is, what you gonna do with it? The question follows me home, echoing through my mind as I navigate the surreal experience of returning to my childhood bedroom after signing an NBA contract. My parents are still at work. They have no idea their son just became a professional athlete. The disconnect between my internal reality and my external circumstances feels like living in 2 worlds simultaneously. I lie on my bed, staring at the ceiling, holding the business card Palinka gave me. Lakers logo embossed in gold, his contact information printed in elegant script. Physical proof that what happened today was real, not some elaborate fantasy conjured by a mind that spent too many years dreaming of second chances. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw the workout today. Impressive. Looking forward to competing against you. LeBron. The message hits me like a punch to the gut. LeBron James knows who I am. The same LeBron James I played against in my previous life, when I was a 7'2" center and he was already establishing himself as one of the greatest players in history. Now he's welcoming me to the league as an equal, not knowing that we've shared the court before in a timeline that no longer exists. I type back, looking forward to it, thanks for the welcome. His response comes immediately. Height ain't nothing but a number. Heart is everything. Show them what you got, young king. The words blur as unexpected emotion wells up in my eyes. In my previous life, LeBron and I were rivals, competitors who battled in the playoffs year after year. But we also shared a mutual respect born from understanding what it meant to carry the weight of expectations, to perform under pressure, to lead by example when everything was on the line. Now he's offering encouragement to someone he sees as a rookie, a kid who needs guidance and support. The generosity of it, the humanity of it, reminds me why I fell in love with basketball in the first place. The rest of the evening passes in a blur of phone calls and decisions that feel simultaneously momentous and routine. Lawyers discussing contract details, agents pitching their services, reporters asking for interviews about the miracle workout that's already making waves on social media. Through it all, I maintain the same story. Natural talent finally finding its expression, hard work paying off, a dream becoming reality. The truth remains locked inside my chest, a secret too impossible to share. 3 weeks later, I'm standing in the tunnel at Staples Center, wearing a Lakers jersey with my name on the back. It's a preseason game against the Clippers, my first official NBA appearance. and the arena is buzzing with curiosity about the teenage rookie who supposedly came out of nowhere. The starting lineup announcement feels like deja vu in reverse. Instead of hearing my name called as an established veteran, I'm the unknown quantity, the question mark, the story that doesn't quite make sense. When they call starting at point guard number 24 Marcus Chen, the crowd's reaction is polite but confused. I jog onto the court, and the first thing that hits me is the size. Not the physical dimensions. I know this arena like my own bedroom. But the metaphysical weight of it, the pressure and expectation and history that soaks into the hardwood like incense. This is where legends are made and careers are ended, where the margin between success and failure is measured in milliseconds and inches. The Clippers' starting point guard is Patrick Beverley, a defensive specialist known for his intensity and physicality. He's someone I remember from my previous life, a player who never backed down from anyone, regardless of size or reputation. When he sees me across the court during warm-ups, his expression shifts from curiosity to something approaching amusement. "They really starting a kid against me?" he says to his teammate loud enough for me to hear. "This gonna be fun." The opening tip is a formality. Their center, Montrezl Harrell, towers over everyone on our team. But when the ball comes down, it's not about who wins the tip. It's about what happens next. Beverly brings the ball up court with the confidence of a veteran who's seen every trick in the book. He's physical from the start, bumping me, testing my resolve, trying to establish dominance through intimidation. In my first life, this would have worked. I would have been overwhelmed by the speed and physicality of NBA basketball. This time I'm home. The first steal comes 30 seconds into the game. Beverly tries a crossover move that works against most rookies, but I've seen it 1,000 times before. My hand darts out at exactly the right moment, stripping the ball cleanly and pushing it ahead to my teammate for an easy score. The crowd reacts with surprise, but it's nothing compared to Beverly's shock. He stares at me for a moment, recalibrating his assessment of what he's dealing with. "Lucky," he mutters, but there's uncertainty in his voice. The second steal comes 2 minutes later, then a third. By the end of the first quarter, I have 5 steals, 7 assists, and 12 points on perfect shooting. The arena that was politely curious is now fully engaged, the crowd on their feet every time I touch the ball. At the first timeout, Coach Vogel pulls me aside. Frank Vogel is a man I know well from my previous life, a defensive-minded coach who values intelligence and effort above raw talent. Seeing the respect in his eyes, the way he's treating me as an equal rather than a project, feels like vindication. "Marcus," he says, his voice calm but intense. "What you're doing out there is remarkable. But I need you to understand something. This is just the beginning. The league is going to study you, game plan for you, try to find ways to exploit your size. You ready for that fight?" Yes. I meet his eyes directly, letting him see the certainty that